Hello and welcome to the Codec Moments podcast. I'm here today with no Matt Holt, which is a nice, refreshing change, actually. But with Stuart Cullen.
All right.
And Ali Cornwall.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about The Division 2.
Pew, pew.
Yeah.
So how are you doing, boys? How's things?
Yeah, good. Much Division played, not much Anthem played.
Yeah, we did call that on the Division episode, so go and listen to that. But yeah, we did say that it'd probably take over from that. But yeah, I'm good, thanks.
I've got a similar problem. Lots of Division played, no ironing done. So arguably, I'm probably in bigger trouble.
Yeah, you're up Crease
Creek.
Oh dear.
So we're here today to talk about The Division 2. I guess really what do we like about it? What has changed from The Division 1? And perhaps for anybody who's, I don't know, been under a rock for the past 4 years, maybe we should talk about the series just briefly. What's it about?
A real life portrayal of America.
Yeah.
I heard they were going to set Division 2 in London, but it was just too realistic in terms of Brexit that they decided not to.
Yeah, London after the marches today.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's set in America, and it's a virus that is contaminated on dollar bills, I think it was.
Yeah, Black Friday.
In the first game, and kills lots of people, basically.
So it's kind of post-apocalyptic loot shooter.
Yeah,
with
no zombies.
Sorry?
With no zombies.
With no zombies, which is nice.
Yes, it's not one of those viruses.
Yeah. So the first game was set in New York in the winter, immediately after the virus had hit, and kind of dealt with the collapse of society.
Yeah, around Black Friday, or the day after, something like that.
So very snowy, very kind of quite an eerie atmosphere in New York. Yes. And now we move for the second game. We're about 8 months later, I think, in Washington D.C.
Springtime.
Springtime in Washington. So it's nice. It's actually nice. The weather's lovely. The occasional downpour, but it does change the atmosphere of the game. Like the first game did feel quite penned in and claustrophobic, especially when you had the fog and the snow, reducing your visibility quite dramatically. This game is a lot more colourful. It feels a lot more open, a lot less boxy, but there are moments like I've noticed approaching a couple of missions where like the rain really sets in and you have a storm and suddenly your visibility is down to nothing. And actually, that's pretty scary.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you're running down the streets and there's a blizzard and then you just run into a load of enemies.
Yeah. Oh, right, boys.
Yeah. Hello. Just passing through.
So what were your initial thoughts on the game then? Coming from the Division 1, what did you like about the game? What's different? What are the changes?
My time with the Division 1 ran up to I was one of these ones that played it quite heavily, and then that's kind of a 3-4 months period where they were trying to get their act together with endgame. I kind of detached and left, so I didn't actually play much of the DLC attached to it, where they fixed shop, and it became a better game for what I hear. So for me, I feel Division 2's very much a progression of what the Division 1 should have been at launch. I think that's the key word there, should have been at launch. But then remember as well, the Division was the first goal, you know. So a lot of learning on the fly, I think, for Ubisoft, and massive. So I think it's a case of you play Division 2, a lot of the kind of issues you had with the Division 1 are now gone. But I think as well at the same time certain things have been sacrificed. I think the main story isn't quite as strong as what the Division 1 story was. But then arguably it doesn't need to be strong. The core pillars are there, you know.
It's a good point as well, because I think, you know, when you're dealing with, in the Division 1, you're dealing with the immediate aftermath of the outbreak and the collapse of society. And yeah, like you said, the imperative for the missions and what you're doing is perhaps that little bit stronger and that little bit more urgent. Mm-hmm. And here it feels like you're kind of tying up loose ends quite a lot of the time, and I don't know. That's my impression. I'm not as far on as you guys.
I think the game nails it on the head, but story-wise, in the first half hour, when you get to the White House and you walk into the boardroom and there's the map with all the figures, and they turn around and go, "You're the sheriff," and at that point, that's when the story boils down to, you're the lawman in a lawless city, and that's it. You're just there to dish out the good, defend the good, take out the bad, and that instantly wraps that story up. For there on in, nothing else matters. You're the good guy. Be good. Do you know what I mean? And I think that was a really clever move. Because I think if they hadn't done that, you could have moaned and complained, "Oh, it's this, it's that." But what more do you need to know? You know what I mean? And they keep referring to you as the sheriff because that's your code name within Washington. You know.
So does that mean that my tactic of using liberal amount of grenades to rescue civilians in distress is probably not ideal?
That's fine. It's fine. That's it. You know what I mean? It works. You know what I mean? Any way possible. You know.
By any means.
The number of times the hostages get themselves killed is questionable as well. We'll no talk about that just now. But yeah, it's very much a case of more of the same, but in a good way, not in a bad way. And I think as well, a really credible thing is that we talked about how New York is instantly dazed in the aftermath, so the streets are covered in trash, there's lots of dead bodies, there's lots of quarantine stuff in that, whereas this time we're doing the line, in the world itself, the infection areas aren't quite as big now, there isn't quite as much biotape and biohazards, and there isn't kind of the body bags stacked up on the streets, but the most important thing I think about the second game is nature's started to take hold now, so you've got overgrown everything, areas have lots of trees and stuff in this, and it feels like an abandoned world being reclaimed.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that moment when you start to head towards the White House and a deer just runs across your path, I was like, what the? All right, okay, yeah.
There's a lot of animals, more animals than there was in the first one because it was mainly just dogs, wasn't it?
Yeah, really. And rats. A greater variety of animals.
Yeah.
I mean, I came to Division 1. Well, no, what am I talking about? I got it when it was released, but I kind of did about 15 levels of progression and then fell away and then went back to it with some friends later on after all the DLC and the underground stuff had been released. And there was a lot of satisfying endgame content there, and I'm actually really looking forward to reaching the endgame of Division 2. But the one thing I have found so far is in the run up, in that kind of early game content, there does seem to be a lot more variety and a lot more interesting activities, and it's not just rinse repeat.
Yep.
Yeah.
What are you, Ali? What do you feel about it?
So I'm not completely different, but I stuck with it for quite a while. So as becomes the norm that people are finding out Codec Moments, I tend to double or triple dip into a lot of games. And this was a triple dipper. Hey, put that on your box art. Some thanks to Ubisoft. I will put that out there. But so I had it on PC and Xbox, and then brought a PS4. And a lot of my friends that were playing on that, they don't have Xboxes, so they were like, "Well, you need to get it." So I had it on that as well. So I've done a lot of the DLC, not so much the last stuff, but I did the survival, I think it was called, which was
that was where you kind of get dumped with no gear in the middle of nowhere, and you've got to survive a certain amount of time, haven't you? And yeah.
Kind of becomes a kind of battle royale kind of concept.
Yeah, a little bit of a battle royale, but also a little bit of kind of Rust and
kind of what Fallout want it to be.
Yeah, kind of like where you can't go outside for too long when it gets really cold because your health will drop, and you have to make sure that your clothes, your actual apparel that you're wearing, has actual protection against the weather, and you get your loot and different things. So that was good fun. There was the underground where there was a lot more missions and different things to do down there. And then they put in the excursions, I think they were called, which were like bigger missions.
I think my favourite thing about the underground was every now and again you'd come across like an underground rave.
Yeah.
in like a series of sewer pipes. Just be like a massive disco going. Oh, yeah, this is awesome. I go to
This is how you
this.
live. So yeah, I've done a lot of it, and I was up until Division 2 released. I went back and I was going on it every other day, I think it was, because you could they implemented a lot of things, and there was daily crates you could go and get, which had a lot of armor and ammo and weapons and different things in them. But you also could get these sheriff badges, which unlocked some equipment or some just little things to get you going when you went into Division 2. So I was actually playing it up till probably 3 or 4 days to release.
Okay,
just
so
doing a few bits.
What kind of content did you get from that then?
If I'm honest, I only got, I think, a special badge. And that was only because you had to do quite a bit of things or a few missions and whatnot in the first game to unlock these badges. And I only managed to unlock the one, mainly because there wasn't many of my friends playing it, and I don't like doing public groups.
Yeah, with you on that one.
Just because people are annoying in them sometimes. I'm either carrying people, or people are just standing doing jumping jacks and you're like, are we going to get this done? Or you get an awesome group and you just blitz through it and you're like, why can't I get one like this all the time? So I didn't get an awful lot, but I think it was unlocking weapons and skins and all manner of things through it. But like I say, I only managed to get one, and I think you could get up to, it's either 5 or 10, I think. But there's a lot of things you had to do. So yeah, I've been a fan of the Division since seeing the awesome stand that they had at EGX when they had the first time around. What would that be, 4 years ago, with the barbed wire, and when me and Stu managed to get in there quite early, I think I remember on that one. And the devs are really nice. They're Swedish, I want to say.
Yeah, they're Swedish, but there's also a strong connection with the guys in Newcastle at Reflections.
Yes.
The guys that did Driver many moons ago.
Yeah.
Remember Driver? So I think it's split evenly between those two studios, as well as about another million Ubi studios, because I think Ubi Shanghai's involved and Chicago's involved and stuff.
Yeah. So for me, going to number 2, it wasn't a massive shock in terms of some of the progression they'd made with the game. And you could tell that they had then tweaked that to the point where they're like, right, okay, this is going into the second one, and then we're going to add on to it. But there was lots of different missions and daily things and weekly things and that you could do.
So what are the key things that you've noticed have changed and improved?
There's loads to do.
Yeah.
Loads. Like before, you had a map, and your extra tasks, other than just going around killing people and doing the side missions and whatnot, was just picking up phones, shooting down drones, picking up bits of files and stuff like that. Whereas in this, you've now got you're going to have to help me here, Stu. You've got strongholds, you've got the rally points or whatever they're called.
There's like territory.
Points.
Yeah.
There's territorial fights as well.
Yeah.
Hostage negotiations, which always end well.
The public executions was the one that
Yes.
struck me. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, I probably should do something here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a few other there's bits where there's resources as well you can fight to capture.
And you've got mini hubs, because I think one of the things with the first one was that you had your main hub, and other than the hideouts that you could go to, you ended up having a lot of materials and things, medical supplies and things that you just couldn't do anything with because there was too many in the game to go over that cap, which I understand doing certain missions, but once you hit 1,000 or whatever it was, you could then get another 1,000 or something. Whereas with this one, you can then go to these other settlements and do those up as well, which I find quite nice.
Yeah, I've got to say the projects and the
God,
what's the other one with the areas? What do they call it? It's not reclamation, is it? But it's something like that, isn't it?
The areas.
Yeah, you've got like each area, so you've got a
That's the control points.
No, not the control points. So each zone, like downtown east or federal triangle, whatever it's called, have got like a list of objectives that you've got to meet before you kind of clear that area, as it were.
Okay.
They're kind of
Yeah.
like project.
Yeah,
They're
they're like
one
projects.
and the same.
They're like projects, but I can't remember what the bloody hell they're called.
Yeah. So there's a lot.
I
There's
really,
a lot.
I really like those because it gives you some focus as to. Well, I might just go and find some shade tech caches because I need to knock off a couple of those to complete this project. Or
And I love the little puzzles as well, which for the shade text, but also in the missions when you go into an area, there'll be doors that are locked. I guess this is something we may get into later as a little tip, but you'll see that there's a red light on a door and there's gear behind it, and then you have to go and find a yellow box on the wall, shoot that, which disrupts the power, opens a gate, and there's loads of loot, which is lovely.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that yet.
Yeah,
that is a good tip.
Yeah, so you go back, and as well as the little boxes that you can unlock with certain keys, which we'll talk about that towards the end, how you get them, there are little like stashes of gear. Normally have a minimum of 2, I think, decent boxes where you get some gear out of, as well as some little supplies and things. And there'll be a red light above it or near it, and then you can follow like a cable on the floor or whatever, and you're looking for a yellow box. Shoot that, and then it kills the power to it and opens the door.
Oh, nice. Okay. So speaking of gear, there's been some changes to your gear sets and how stuff works. How have you found those? Like the brand sets and the changes to the way the mods work?
Shite.
I'll be honest, I've not really sat and looked at it because it just keeps throwing new stuff at you. It's one of these ones where if you sit, you'll spend 20 minutes looking at it and kitting it out and getting it right, and then it'll throw a better gas mask or a better backpack or a better armour, and it all feels a bit redundant in that kind of sense, you know.
The way I'm playing, I think the brand sets are nice to have at the moment in the earlier game, but I guess they come into their own later on in the end game.
Yeah, I mean, because I tend to rock an LMG, so if there's something that, especially tier 1, which some of them do, I can't remember the names of them, but will give you 10% extra power for an LMG or some health, then I'll pick that over something else, especially if the armor value's negligible between the two.
So just to explain for anybody who doesn't know, basically a lot of the gear, is it all the gear or just a bit of the gear?
Anything above a common.
Anything above a common
coloured
now has like a brand name on it, like a logo. And if you match them up, so you've got 2, is it up to like 3, I think?
Yes. Yeah.
So if you get up to 3 items from the same brand, it sounds a bit like sponsorship, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if your Division agent is basically sponsored by one of these brands, then you get better perks and better buffs to your stats and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's the same as the way endgame content worked in the first division. So you have gear sets, and if you get everything in the same set, which was like a turquoisey colour, you unlocked.
But they were
those
more
abilities
themed in the
things.
first one, weren't they? It was like the expeditionists, the survivalists, the stealth, whatever. It was all. That's the one thing I did notice was the sets in Division 1 were a bit more themed to certain class traits,
which they've moved away from for this game to make it a little bit more simplistic.
It's a bit more kind of basically just like manufacture, like actual military manufacturing companies that are making the brands. It's not like you're trying to get.
It's not like Nike. You're not going for like a set of Nike.
But it's not like the
chest armor.
When you have a set, it's like you look like a guy in a ghillie suit or something. Whereas the first one, that's what it was. It was like the kind of you had a particular style you looked. Whereas in this, it's more kind of this just kind of mishmash, you know. But then we don't know what they'll bring in down the line. You know what I mean? They might go back to that kind of themed set.
So,
and
sorry,
go on.
No, go.
I was just going to say, and with regards to mods, they can go to hell. I hate them. So in the first one, you could craft decent mods. So you could get suppressors, clips, things like that, and they rank up in like quality along with your guns. And now that isn't the case, and they're a pain to get. I think they open up more towards end game.
They're tied. A lot of them are tied to side missions.
Yeah. But they don't seem to be as good, but that might just be me. But then you've got the mods on your equipment as well, which do your abilities and skills. Which are great. I've got an end game, not an end game one, a legendary one or whatever it is, you know, a high end, one. But but I can't use it because I physically cannot get my skill level up to that number, and it's really frustrating.
Yeah, I've picked up like an improved, was it like a brushless motor for my little drone mine, and I can't use it yet. I'm still like, it's like about 250 skill power away from being able to use it. And for reference, my skill power is 14, so that is a significant amount.
Yay!
So out of interest, Stu, you're already at level 30 and starting to chip away at endgame. So what's your skill power on roughly? Do you know?
As I pick the number out of my head, I look at the picture. I sent earlier today. I think it's probably changed a bit since then because I played a wee bit more, but it's sitting at 530 in that picture. So,
which is kind of the threshold for a lot of those mods. And I just think, what's the point? I've got my stash of those is full to the point I'm having to deconstruct them and sell them, because I can't physically use them. I can't do anything with them. Yes, I could put them in my stash, but when I get to endgame, I'll be getting better ones. So why give me something I physically can't? I can put it on.
It does feel a bit unbalanced at the moment. That's the only thing I've come across at the moment that makes me think, what? Really?
What's the point?
Yeah, it definitely feels the kind of mods feel like a kind of endgame thing because the skills themselves. That's another thing as well. Probably worth saying is the skills are a bit wider and a bit more impressive than what they've kind of taken away skills for the first game. They've kind of added them. They've kind of combined them. So they're an interesting bunch now.
Let's go through the skills then. So you got your ping, which I think was in the first game, and
which is a range
naturally
of nothing.
The first one I unlocked, and it was bloody useless.
Yep,
absolutely. It works for about 25 meters. So unless you're almost literally on top of the enemy, it is useless.
Yep. And I guess with a mod, you'd be able to increase the range.
This is a good point.
Activate it.
The other thing as well is each skill has a flavour as well, which
so you can
I think each 4 or 5 flavours.
Each skill I think has got 3 or 4,
at least
different kind of variants that you can also unlock later on through the shade tech points, which we were talking about earlier. So what have we got? We got ping. We've got the turret returns, which I'm pleased about, and
OP as hell. Very much fun.
Don't tell them. Yep. They'll nerf it. I love my turret. I've always loved my turret.
The flamethrower one's really good. It adds hours of fun, especially in dark rooms.
Fire in this game, which again we may get to later, is unbelievably punishing. Like you get set on fire, you literally just go, ah! That's it, like someone put me out, and then you're dead.
Not unlike real life, I suppose.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Whereas in the other one, you could take it a little bit.
Take a bit of fire, couldn't you?
Yeah. I don't feel as John Wick.
I suppose it was.
Game. I'll put it that way.
I suppose it was a lot colder in New York in the winter, so maybe that was it.
Yeah, thawing me out.
Yeah. And then you've got what else is you've got fire. Yeah, you've got
the hive. The hive's really interesting as well because it's more a support thing now.
So what's hive? I don't think I've unlocked that.
It's a grenade. No, it's a beacon. It's not a grenade.
Imagine, your support station that you had in the first one.
Yeah.
Imagine that as more of a mine.
Okay.
If you like.
Yeah.
That you kind of throw out and it has an area of effect. And the attack one, if someone's in the area, it will then like ping little missiles off.
Oh, okay.
That hit them. The healing one does the same, but obviously it heals you.
Self-revive. It self-revives. That's when I play when I play, somebody I play with uses it, and he throws it, and basically, if I go down, the drone just brings me back.
Nice.
And then it also allows him to self-revive himself.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need somebody to come over. He can actually physically. I think you get 2 goes this reviving if you actually have it equipped.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Because obviously you'll have the first one by going down, and then the second one is if you're in the area effect.
And a lovely segue for you. If you're using the hive to heal, it also heals your drone, and we've got drones as well.
Ah, so drone is a good one. And then you've got the seeker mine, which I've been enjoying. That's quite good.
Yep. Yeah.
And the variants of that. So the one I went for is like it goes off. You chuck it. Yeah, you chuck it. It goes off, and then it basically splits up into several little mines, and then just chases enemies around the map.
Yeah,
awesome.
I do like that feature that's in this one, especially with the seeker mine and with the drone, is that they harass enemies, and enemies will either shoot at it So then you can shoot them while they're shooting at that, and it distracts them, or it will literally chase them around the map, which is great.
The AI actually seems improved over the first one. I think they're a lot
They
more
flank you as
a
well.
lot more aggressive. Yeah, they'll really flank you, but also they'll bed down, and if there's 2 or 3 of them, they will take it in turns to pop up and try and subtly take you apart. And then the chem launcher is another one.
That's my personal
yeah.
favourite.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
It's got a few good tricks up its sleeve.
Yeah.
I like the best one is the armor eating thing. Basically, there's one that shoots like a purple cloud that just eats armor, and when you're up against elites and armored, it eats through it in no time, and
I've not used that yet.
It's really good. That or the propane thing when you shoot it and it bursts of gas. And you basically shoot a bullet into it and it ignites it. It's it's overcomplicated for what it really is. A Molotov launcher, but you know what I mean. It's
nice.
It's good.
I love it. And the fire effects again are amazing. They were really good in the first one. They're really good in this one as well. I love just blowing shit up. I accidentally set a dog on fire the other day, but there we go.
Firefly. The Firefly sounds good, but I've never managed to make it work.
No, it's just like a paper airplane that you throw at something and it's got wet halfway through, and you're like, oh.
I'm like, come on, do something, and it's like,
yeah, that is the worst one, I think, for me.
Well, I don't know. Ping's still pretty terrible.
Riot Shield's good. Riot Shield's basic, but does what it says in the tin.
And the one that, because there's 3 flavours of that. There's one where you can use your sidearm.
You stick
the other one where you use your main one.
Your weapon,
and
that's the
Ricochet. Ricochet's awesome. It doesn't last very long, but you can mince enemies with that, which is pretty cool.
Oh, amazing.
I heard Ricochet's very OP in PvP. Because I hear. I know I used the one where you set your rifle in the middle in PvP, and nobody really knew how to stop it. But I hear Ricochet's just totally changed the ball game there. Because if you've got somebody unloading on you, you're just going to shoot, just open it and let them shoot themselves.
That's amazing. And then I suppose the other thing worth just talking about the mods is the fact that now, rather than getting them with weapons, which you still kind of do have some weapons with attachments, but the mods don't sit in your inventory like they did before. You kind of unlock them, and you unlock them for all the weapons.
Yes. Yeah.
We generally don't find them in the world. You generally have to craft mods as well. That's a big change. So you'll find mods for kit.
Because that was the thing about the first game, was I spent half my life just breaking down mods or selling those, because, dismantling weapons and stuff. So you don't have to strip down weapons anymore, which is good and bad in a way, because I kind of liked that aspect of it. It was kind of unique that you'd get a gun with different mods on and strip those off and then swap them around your weapons. And they now have negative effects as well, don't they? Some of the mods, which is a bit irritating.
So scopes will take down your accuracy, oddly enough.
Yeah. And
15% penalised. Reloading, the clearest one is probably the extended clips, especially on LMGs. It's like they can give you basically a reload time of 15%, which with an LMG you're as well just waving. And
I think the one I noticed was like the hand grip, which had massively increased your stability and slightly increased your accuracy, but like doubled your reload time.
Yeah. And the one mod that is 100% new, other than modding your skills full stop, is the effects. I've not unlocked any yet, but there are effects mods to your skills, so they will look different. I think I saw somewhere where I can't remember which one it is. It might be the Hive that gives it more of a Roman candle effect. So they'll look different and stuff. So that'll be interesting.
That's amazing. Can I make my turret look like one of the auto guns from Aliens?
Yeah, why not?
Copyright's never an issue.
Did it? One of the things that was a problem, talking about issues, was did anyone come across the skills issue?
Yeah, they sometimes work and they sometimes don't work.
Yeah, or they work. I think it was to do with if you had any equipment with skills modifiers, it basically made your skill work for about 2 or 3 seconds, and then it died.
Yeah, it was throwing it as well. So you'd get the action to throw it, and then you'd do nothing. So then you'd have to hit the swap weapon button to get out of that action. And there was also an issue where the timer would go to nothing and you think you could use it, and that's where that kind of glitch came in. But this seemed to have resolved that fairly quickly.
Yeah,
I
there
think
was a hot fix. There was a hot fix a couple of days, hours into it. The one I'll notice is the hive revive thing. It's really hit and miss.
Yes, it is.
You can be there, and it's meant to when you're downed and you're bleeding out. There's a kind of semicircle of red showing you how long you got. Well, when you're getting revived, it's meant to pump it up, and it's like 4 wee blasts of blue it'll put into the circle, and then you get back up. But 9 times out of 10, we're finding right now that you do it and none happens, and you're like,
yeah,
that's a really waste of time.
Yeah, I'm glad I spent my money on that.
Yeah.
But when it works, it's great. But when it doesn't work, it's not.
It's naff
at all.
yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I think for me, any issues I've had, although they're probably frustrating at the time, I don't necessarily think they've been game breaking or they've spoilt it for me.
The biggest issue I'm hitting is the sheer darkness of the game. It needs a torch.
You need a torch.
It needs a torch
Oh, okay.
so badly. It's unreal. Like the amount of areas you'll get into, and it's pitch black, and it's like, why do we not have a torch, or even a mod torch or something just to help you guide your way? You know, it seems
especially
really,
if you go and have a look around in the sewers and stuff, because there is a reason to go down there now.
alligators.
Yeah. And yeah, it's that dark in some areas. Whether it's because I thought it might be because I'm playing HDR. Are we all
it's
playing
literally, it's literally, me and Andy, my mate, are having the same problem, but for what we understand is it's like the most cried out thing in the moment on Reddit and stuff. So I think
petting dogs, sorry.
Well, I'll take the torture of the petting dogs. I think
Strap
they'll
a torch to a dog and have that with you.
Yeah, I think they'll patch in a
Dog
torch.
torch would be useless. The second it wagged its tail or licked its bum, you wouldn't be able to see where it's going.
Why you can't have like a head torch or a helmet mounted torch or something? Just, I mean, they'll
Or get
be
Isaac
away.
to do something with your orange thing.
But that's the thing, you know. Why not just put a kind of an ambient glow on you when you because if you've got that light on your back and on your wrist, I'm sure you could. There's ways of doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's that, and I think the AI is. I know you were saying it's pretty good. I think the AI is a bit too aggressive, considering how spongy they are. It's one thing to have aggressive AI if they're going to get put down when the time comes, but when the aggressive AI is queuing up to get you and you're 4 or 5 clips into them, it just becomes annoying. I find certain not Russian because the Russians aren't in this one. I find certain enemies that rush are prone to this. There's a lower class of hyena that does it. There's a suicide bomber.
The ones that take
does it,
the ones that take the meds and then run.
Yeah.
Oh, they are annoying. Yeah.
The suicide bombers are a pain as well because obviously they do one thing when they get to you, hug you, and then there's an elite class with a sledgehammer who is just a pain. Period, because the hit detection on his swing is all over the shop.
It was
everywhere.
It was the moment when I was kind of sat there in awe, going, "Oh, that looks like a remote-controlled car," and then it blew up at my feet.
Oh, you've not seen anything yet, boy. You wait till you get Robot Wars coming at you that just takes you down to like a gnat's cock of health, and you're like,
but doesn't do it. It just hits you. It literally just touches you. It doesn't. There's no animation. There's no burn time.
No,
there's no.
just like
it's just
drives,
basically touch,
and then,
death.
Yeah, it's got basically saw blades on it, and they're just like spinning around. Oh, lovely, thanks. Just chop my ankles off.
Matilda.
Yeah.
But that's the thing as well. You don't feel the kind of connection to the factions as what you did in the first one. I feel it's like I know there's 2, 3 factions.
Yeah.
You say the hyenas, and I'm like, oh yeah, I think I've heard of them, but yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm not as clued in as I was in the first game. They were a big thing.
The guys on meth. You've got the fire guys again, as suicide bombers, and then
you don't have the bin. You don't have the bin men this time. The bin men were the best bad guys. But it's basically the soldiers, the lumberjacks, and the punks. And then somebody else comes to the party later, and I think that's just the kind of that's just the way it is. I think that's all part of the whole "you're the sheriff" thing. But
I think other than the fact that the balancing, because I think that's what it comes down to, especially if you're in a group, is the balancing can be quite off. Because if I was to join your game, Andy, did you say 14, something like that?
No, oh god, no, I'm only 11 at the moment.
Oh, 11.
Yeah. Although
So,
after
but
this, we should jump on.
Yeah, why not? But it would pump you up to a level roughly lower than me.
Artificially inflate.
Yeah, and the balancing is a bit off because you will be like not even a glass cannon.
No, but to be fair, it still feels better than the Division 1. Because I played a lot of game with kind of overranked players when I was going up through the levels in Division 1. And this feels better. I feel like I'm having more of an impact in this game than I did in the first game.
Yeah, the first one, if you not climbed up with someone, joined someone to help them through a level, it's like stay back there, stay out of trouble.
You just hide and occasionally, I don't know, chuck a drone up or something like that, chuck your turret up. But that was it. That was the only impact I could have there. Here, I can actually get into the fight, and I have to be a bit more careful and think about cover and stuff. But I do feel more effective. I think the group leveling is better here.
That's the thing as well, is the healing system's changed, isn't it? It's no health isn't part of it.
It's armor
health
now,
is a thing. Health isn't a thing per se. It's now armor's the thing, and as long as you've got armor up, you'll basically be good. But it's quite nice. It's cool. My animations are quite cool with my armor now because it shows you I'm taking the plate and throwing it away and putting in a new plate and stuff, and it's nice. But again, it's like tissue paper sometimes. It literally just swipe you at one side.
Yeah, I mean, let's be fair. Other than a few other games, I think this is one of the rare occasions where we talk about a game that is literally a week and a day old.
Yeah.
So it is, still early days, and I think it's a lot better. Granted, yes, it's Division 2, so they'd have learned from some mistakes. I think it's one of the better launches that we've had.
I'd go as far as saying it's probably one of the best live service games to launch.
Yeah, I've not had any server cutouts.
No.
The only actual potential issue I had was the very first mission you do. That was a little bit laggy every now and again, a bit of screen tear and a bit of lag. But that's the only issue I've had like that.
The only issue I've got is the fact that they keep having their regular daily server reboots at prime time evening in the UK.
Which
is clearly just before all the Americans are meant to come online at about 5 p.m. in the US. So that I find a bit irritating, but that's just us crazy Europeans.
Circumstantial.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how are you finding the difficulty level then? Now we're talking about we've talked about the kind of the group leveling. How have you found it going through? Because I've seen a few complaints online about the difficulty.
Solo's hard going.
Solo is
really
hard. Yeah. Sometimes it varies. Sometimes you'll go into a mission, and you'll just go through it like butter, and you're like, I feel like John Wick again.
And then you go into another one and get shot.
Anyway, and then you go into another one, and you're like, what's going on? I'm just getting swarmed. I can't move because I've got enemies coming left, right, and centre, and you just die.
But the game's built for co-op because the point being is when you go down, right, you can call for an agent, and what happens is it must be on your instance or whatever. I get messages basically going, agent calling for help, and it tells you like in a mission or in free roam or whatever, and if you're feeling generous and like a good guy, you can answer the call and jump into his game, help him out, and then once the mission's finished, jump back into your game. You know what I mean? So
have you been doing that? Because I've been making a point to try and help people out when I can, because I think
if I'm not doing something or on a mission,
yeah,
I'll do it. But to be fair, I get asked maybe 30-40 times a session to do it. It's like, I need help. I
don't think it works because I've not managed, unless I'm doing something completely wrong. I've tried it. It brings up a menu, and then I'm like, "So where are you?" Yeah,
that's the downside. Is you bring up the map, don't you? Or you bring up like a version of the map that highlights players, but it shows you all the players who need help, and it doesn't actually like fix on the one that you've clicked for. So you have to roam around the map and find it. Now that could be tweaked. I've had a couple. I was in mission, and I kept having people join me and then disappear, which was really annoying. But it did kind of work when I was doing one of the bounties, and I got all the way. I took this guy's armor off. I was doing really well, and then I got downed I thought, well, rather than go all the way back to the control point and come back at it, I'm going to just send out a distress call. And actually, someone did turn up, revive me, and then we completed the bounty together, which was really nice. The system kind of worked. But I think for the amount of requests that you see, I'm not sure how many people are really responding to them.
Yeah, because and at least it's not as frequent as it was in the beta, because I know they must have tweaked it a little bit, because that was going off all the time, and especially if you're in a mission, and it's just like,
I think it's a constant.
I don't care.
I think it's a constant, and I think it just pings every 15-20 minutes.
Right.
No, because if you can go into the map and see multiples that need help, it's always going to be there, and it's a constant thing. So it's a case that it'll just nudge you, it'll just ping you every so often and go, by the way, you could help people if you're a nice person.
So rather than it being every time someone wants help, it's just a kind of server wide.
I think it's a case that when you call for help, you basically get put into the queue on that map, and then anybody can see you and go, oh, I'll come and help you, or I'll not help you. You're on your own.
The minigun's amazing, though, I have to say. You know, the mounted minigun. I know, jumping around a bit, but that's great.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, it's just reminded me, like, helping people. You just jump on that bad boy.
Yeah. What about the clans? Has anyone done anything with that?
In a clan, yeah.
I won't say the name live on air, because you'll have to bleep it out. But you can join mine, Andy.
Oh, friends.
What is it? I want to know now.
It's not my name, so you will think it will be me because it's coming out of my mouth. But my mate's made it. But I am the clan leader. But it's finger bangers.
I'll be honest. I was expecting far worse, considering I've had to make PayPal payments to our friend Kev's email address. That's nothing.
Which I still don't know how that's not been shut down.
I know, right? Anyway, clans. How does the clans work? I've not really. I'm obviously I'm going to join the finger bangers now.
You get informed every time a clan member's online, so you can jump in and play with them. That's the base level. But you also get crates and stashes for killing. I think it was like killing like 3,500 hyenas, say, are doing so many activities and stuff. So that's quite interesting. The problem is I'm in a clan with 11 people, and I think 3,500 enemies killed is quite a big ask for 11 people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
whereas IGN will have a clan, because they always have somebody's always got an IGN clan, right? And they'll have like 2,000-3,000 people probably, depending what the level cap is for letting people in, and they'll be tearing through that every day of the week. So it's doing a personal thing, innit? You can only, I think our clan's level 7 just now.
Oh, okay.
Would take that what you will, but so again, we're a week and a bit into it, so we haven't actually had a full rotation of the clans, so I don't actually know what happens each week, unless we get like a box delivered to a safe house or the White House, probably the White House actually, and we get some loot, or I don't know. We'll need to wait and see.
You have missions to do or tasks, kill so many people, whatnot, and you go through that, and then as you rank up, you unlock things for your clan.
Okay.
So the rank 1 is you unlock within you have like a clubhouse within the White House,
a meeting room.
Your
banners on the wall. That's my banner.
And you get a vendor in there, like a shop, and I think that refreshes every so often with what it's selling and different things. And then you unlock these crates and stuff. But like Stu says, it's heavily weighted to big clans, which it needs to balance out a little bit.
It should be built into the number, but do you know what I mean? It should be like the artificial leveling.
Yeah, maybe
there should be a case of
they'll scale it based on the number of members in the future. Who knows?
Yeah. And the nice thing is because the first DLC that they've announced, or first update, will be 8-man missions that you can do within your clan. There are 2 audio channels as well. I've not tried it because, well, you've got party chat, but you can go into there and chat with each other if you wanted to. It's nice, but a bit pointless.
Okay, well, that sounds interesting. So, I guess this brings us towards the end game then, because we touched on it briefly. But the one thing that intrigued me about the change of the end game in Division 2 is that you can now adopt a specialization, and I think this is what we were talking about earlier with the gear sets more in the first game. The gear set you had kind of tended more towards your specialization, as it were. But here there are 3 distinct classes that you can choose from.
Yeah.
And is that something you can only do once for each character?
No, you get all 3 of them.
Okay.
You get access to... there's a sniper. There's a grenade launcher.
Yeah.
And there's a crossbow.
I love the sound
Survivalist,
effects.
demolitionist, and sharpshooter, I think is what they call them. But personally, I like pow, boom, and
And each one of them, see, this is the interesting thing. This is where, like before we started going out, I was saying it's got a kind of Monster Hunter vibe to it, because you play through the game and you buy perks and level them up, right? But once you get your specializations, they come with their own skill trees. So it's a case of each one of them has got like 20 or so skills to unlock attached to them. So it's like kind of like the last 30 hours don't really matter because you've now got new stuff to do. But yeah, it's more a case of you kind of the fact you can switch between them is an interesting one, because in the past I would have seen it going, right, you are this is it, that's you. Now away you go and build another guy for 30 hours and come back and get the whatever grenade launchers guy or whatever. But they just add an extra layer of high powered weaponry to the table. And I think if you run with a team made up of all 3 of them, you should be having a good time, you know.
Ah, cool. So you can rank up your survivalist and then switch to demolitionist and get another X number of hours while you do that 20 levels as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of people are saying that once you hit the level perk on one, bin it, bring in a new one, and just because the XP doesn't translate into all 3 categories, you need to earn the XP for each separately. So that's another thing to kind of keep in mind when you're doing the end game thing, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And what else about the end game? How is there a lot of different content? How is it? I know Ali and I can't really comment on this one.
How spoilery can we go?
Do it. Look away now.
Yeah.
So the very beginning of the game really annoyed me, because at the beginning of the game you're in this nice wee settlement, everything's fine, you're having hot dogs and it's the American dream, and a big hovercraft comes in.
The post-apocalyptic American dream.
Yeah, and a big hovercraft comes in, firing and shooting, and before you can get stuck in, there's a call. Oh, I need to go to Washington. See you later. And
Sorry,
you run
lads.
away. So what happens is you play the game, you do your thing, and everything's great and dandy, and you save the day, you take the last stronghold, and then a new faction called the Black Tusk come in. And these are a highly trained spec ops force who have Metal Gear Solid robots. And
Of course they do. Why wouldn't they? Yeah.
I know, it's like, so instead of coming up against armoured guys in the street with miniguns, you're coming up against walking dog turret things. And basically basically everything gets reset. That's we're in the realms of basically every time you clear the map of everything, it resets everything, and they all come back in, but they all come back in stronger and more deadlier, but then you'll have leveled up as well. So all your outpost checkpoints, blah blah blah, that's all been recaptured, and you have to go back in and get them for more tasty loot. And yeah, so it's an easy enough kind of loop. So technically you're getting 2 games for the price of 1, kind of, because the first game is fighting 3 factions and stuff, and then the second game's up against the Black Tusk, who are hinted at during... I really like the fact they're hinted at during the main game and echoes and stuff, because there's like a group of 3 of them. There's like a heavy guy, a sniper, and an assault guy. I've seen about 4 or 5 echoes who are sitting kind of reconnaissing Washington, and it's quite an interesting... It's quite interesting, because I'm going to go, where's the guy with the big minigun for? And I'm like, he's a Black Tusk, isn't he? And then when you read it, it's like BT something strike team or a reconnaissance team, and then like obviously Black Tusk. So
Always good when you can play a game a second time with robots. So what haven't you liked about it? What's is there
just
anything?
the AI and the torch.
A lack of a torch. I mean, to be fair,
that says that says
if you're going to
everything.
describe all the bad things about a game, if you can say that, I suppose the AI is reasonably significant, but the aggressiveness was your issue, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just. I don't mind it being aggressive if it'll die. It's when it's aggressive and it won't die. That's where my problem comes from. And I think as well, the kind of certain missions feel balanced to multiple players, and I don't just mean 2, I mean 3 or 4. It kind of wants you to run as a bigger team near the end of it, which is what it is, you know what I mean? It's a case of it's down to yourself how you feel about that, because it's areas you can tell. It's that age-old thing where you'll walk into a place and it's massive and you'll go, I'm going to end up having to fight guys in this place in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, I know that feeling. Yeah, exactly. That bit when you're just on free roam and you think, I'm going to be doing a mission here later.
But that's the thing I really, really like is the mission structure. It's so good. They've actually sat and looked at Washington and they've went, where is cool in Washington? We can have a mission. And there's some really interesting mission locations. Like there's one inside the War Museum where you sit in the back of a Huey. And then there's one in the Space and Air Museum where a space shuttle crushes guys, which is awesome.
Oh, that moment where you said, I saw a mission that came up and you could go to Space Command.
Doing that
one.
It's like they've really cleverly done what they've done, and it's different.
It's just got whilst this is the irony of it. We're kind of sitting here going, yeah, we're not really paid much attention to the story. We don't really know much about it, but it's got more charm than the first game. I think.
Yeah.
Despite that,
the mission thing was something I was going to mention before we wrapped up, because it is probably one of the best things about the game is the main missions. Some of the side missions are a little bit like go to this building, clear them out, done. But the main missions, they're so great. They're just awesome. Like going through the War Museum, and especially if you start chucking a bit of fire down as well, and it's like being in the set of Platoon or something. It's great.
Taking back a TV station.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
There was one I did. The strongholds are interesting. One of them's very 8 arcs back to the Division 1 where you were in the hockey arena, maybe?
Yeah.
In this, you're in a basketball arena. And
okay.
You clear it out, and then last night we did the second one, which was basically a logger camp, but it had a big massive aeroplane blown up in it. And it's like, okay, let's just enjoy this area for a wee bit. And that's before you kind of stumble across Air Force One, which is just lying out in the map somewhere. And that itself's an interesting.
Is that the crash site that I've seen? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, because that's the one off the demo when they would take it to E3 and different things, wasn't it? Yeah,
but that was the thing. I went through the whole game going, where's the Air Force One? Where's the Air Force One? Where's the Air Force One? And me and Andy, we ran through the Dark Zone missions, and right at the exit of one of the Dark Zones, it's like, Jesus, that's Air Force's one tail. I'm like, how have we missed that? And I went, well, we would never have been doing this side of the map to get to it, if you know what I mean. It's a bit kind of tucked away, if you know what I mean. But it's a really interesting map that has a lot of flavour, and they use that in the missions, so you never really feel like you've done it before, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so if you like loot-based shooters or loot-based
looter shooters,
looter shooters, or loot-based games, then this is a no-brainer. I think you should definitely go for this. Yeah. The thing I'm struggling with is that they're saying that the physical sales are 20% of that of the Division 1, and I don't know what the significance of that is with digital is probably a large proportion of those maybe, but also is it, do we think it's people who bought the Division 1 thinking it was going to be something else, something it wasn't?
No, I think it's people being cautious from the likes of Anthem. We've had a lot of big players drop games in the last few months, so it could be people's personal expenses not stretching to it.
I'd argue it's digital. I'd say in the same week that Google announced the revolution, the future being solely digital, I think it's digital sales, and I think that'll come in and a couple of weeks' time they'll announce it, and because I think if that's the way the industry's going, I think the whole retail's down isn't really an issue. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just another
20%.
It's just another stick to beat devs with, isn't it?
Yeah. It's underperformed. Oh, wait a minute. It's sold 20 million digital copies on PSN. Don't worry. We don't count them. No.
Well, I have to say that, the display stands in Tesco are doing their job. Because they got
you
me.
Traitor.
Yeah.
Have you not been to Sainsbury's?
No, I cheated on Sainsbury's.
But then as somebody said, you know what I mean? It was flavour of the week last week. Now it's all about a robot-armed samurai running across rooftops. It's the never-ending plight of gamers.
Yeah, well, that's quite literally another podcast all in its own self. Well, I've really enjoyed talking to you both today about the Division 2. Personally, I can highly recommend it. I intend to hit the level cap and reach the end game because, the Division's probably the only game of this nature that I've actually managed to do that with. So, that's my ambition. Sometime by 2020. Any closing words?
Yeah, that was a subsection. We didn't even mention the Dark Zone where you can go in and do one over on each other.
Forgot about the bloody PvP. Yeah, exactly.
The PvP as well, which is bags of fun, which will annoy people. So yeah, if you're looking for a looter shooter, as we said, that is rammed to the rafters with content, as Ubisoft only do, buy it. If you're a fan of the first one, it's more of the same but better. And if you're looking for something to sink your teeth into, it's definitely got longevity and character, and it's good.
It is.
Ali, any closing words?
Just what Stu said. It's good. It's great.
Luther.
That's the box. That's the box quote. Just what he said.
What he said. Yeah. No, it's like Stu said. It's more of the same. They've enhanced. They spent a lot of time on the first one to make sure that number 2 was good, and it is. The first year of content is free. You can get a season.
There's
pass.
a season pass.
Because I nearly bought the gold edition on the basis that it says it includes the year 1 season pass, but the year 1 content is free. Don't
get it
fall
early
for that one. Is it like 7 days early or something? You get it, or
and you get some loot and stuff. I've got it just because I'm a sucker.
That's another thing on the bad thing I really should have mentioned as well is they took it's not a bad thing at all. They basically took the cosmetic items, so your jackets, your hats, your gloves, blah blah blah, and they've basically went, you know what? Let's loot box them boys, and that's what the microtransactions in the game are attached to. Is basically getting.
Who would buy them, right?
To be fair,
who would buy 4 outfits for some new tattoos?
What have you bought?
Who would do that?
What have you bought?
I brought 4 outfits. I've got the bottom one, which is like the grunge outfit, and one that makes you look like Mario. I think it's meant to be like a 90s breakdancer, but you look like Mario. I'll show you in a bit. It's great.
I've got to see it. I mean, to be fair, there are apparel items to be found in the game and apparel caches that you can pick up in the game.
As you go.
But there's not much of it that I've found in the 11 levels that I've gone through so far. Yeah.
But you also get with certain drops and accommodation unlocks and stuff, you get parts of keys, and you can build keys instead of paying for them. So you'll even get bits to unlock during the thing, but it's by the by. There's nothing major. It'd be different if they had a Sam Fisher suit. Then, you know what I mean, we're talking business, or they had the standard Assassin's Creed kind of suit or something. Then we're talking shop. But I think that'll come. I think I can. The weird thing is I can feel the spirit of Ghost Recon in this game so much, and I kind of look at where Ghost Recon was and where it's went, and I was kind of like, how awesome would it be to hunt Predator across the White House lawn? That'd be amazing. Or to have what the remainder of Rainbow Six appear, or massive in brackets spoilers. Apparently, Sam Fisher is in Washington. But that's doing a bit of...
You'll get Andy excited.
That's doing a
very
bit
disappointed.
That's doing a bit of brand jumping. If you've played New Dawn and you played that excursion mission in New Dawn and read the notes, Sam is in Washington looking for Sarah, and I'm hunting everywhere to find something to tell me he is.
I've got to go for a cold shower.
So yeah,
As long
I
as-
kind of expect something Sam Fisher in the pipeline at some point for them.
Well, there you go. I'm excited. I'm excited about that. Go out. If you even listen to this and think, yeah, maybe, go and give it a go. It's a great game. It really is a great game. I'm enjoying it very much.
I think I'm right in saying this as well, that if it's the same as the first game, you don't have to have PSN or
Well, I don't know.
Xbox Gold to play the game. It's only to play the multiplayer. So if you're not that bothered about the Dark Zone and doing the PvP stuff, you can still play online
So you can play
with everyone else.
PvE online without those subscriptions. Oh,
Yes,
that's
it
good.
definitely is on the first one because my dad's chipping away at that. But yeah, I presume it'll be the same for the second.
Cornwolf Senior.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, can we get him in our clan? Can we go with the finger bangers?
He's not on the second one. He's on the Xbox as well.
Oh, that would be
He knows how to roll.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I taught him well, or he taught me well, whichever way. Xbox bloke. You know what I mean? He can play with Cullen. They just won't know what they're doing. Just be there spinning around in circles, looking at the sky.
Majora, how do you kneel down?
How do you jump? You can't. What?
No, I can. I'm sure I can. Just looking completely the wrong direction. Up in the reminds me of I can't remember what it was, but I tried to get my wife to play a first-person shooter, and she literally just stood spinning round on her axis, looking at the sky for about 2 minutes.
Thrown grenades.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, thank you very much for joining me today, guys. Stuart Cullen has a regular weekly column in the Scottish Sun where you
Yep,
a
we're calling the
page.
Copper Sun, and over at the fine Codec Moments website.
Oh,
Where, if you go on tomorrow, I'm assuming it's tomorrow, but it could be in the future, you can read a really good interview with Manny Diaz, the world designer at Ubisoft, who talks about how they created the lovely world of Washington in the Division 2.
well, there you go.
And how they reached out to Coast Guard and Spec Ops and crisis responders, and like the amount of deer in Washington. I didn't know there was a lot of deer. There is lots of deer.
Well, there are now, yeah.
Well, there's not in my game, but that's a different story.
Yeah, it's because you set fire to them.
Flaming deer.
All right, and
So-
Ali, thank you very much for joining me as well. If you want to tweet us about this, then you can tweet at Codec Moments. And as Stuart said, you can visit codecmoments.com for more of our great reviews, articles, and his weekly page, Scotch Corner. Right, that'll do. Cheers, everyone. Bye.
Draw.
Catch yous in the Dark Zone.
Looter, shooter.
A looter shooter. I can't do it as well as you. Top of the money.
like-
A wee looter shooter.
Papa Lazarou.
A what?
My wife needs to use your toilet, Dave. She has a looter shooter.